The last couple days, we've gotten a couple news stories about the PlayStation 5 getting exclusives and timed exclusives with third-party content, the most notably being Marvel's Avengers. The word is that Spider-Man is coming to Marvel's Avengers and only on the PlayStation 5. That's the only place you're going to be able to experience it. And now PS5 is reportedly pushing for major PS5 timed exclusivity deals on multi-platform games. I do want to discuss that today. I want to talk about it, and I want to discuss whether or not Xbox should go after those same timed deals. Beyond that, there's been a really interesting discussion surrounding this, and are these timed deals bad for gaming? I want to discuss that. I want to give you my opinion, which a lot of you might not agree with, actually. It tends to go against the norm, at least from what I'm seeing on Twitter. But before we jump into that, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. We are the XoneBros. This is your positive gaming and Xbox community. This is all things Xbox. We're the place to be. So join us, hit that subscribe button, and like this video. Okay, so first I do want to go over some of these stories, particularly this latest story that has come out about the PlayStation 5 going after more of these timed exclusivity deals for big multi-platform games. This is a news story over at Games Radar. The news actually comes from former Game Informer editor Imran Khan, now a host and contributor at Kinda Funny, who discussed Sony's plans on a recent podcast. Khan and co-host Tim Geddes got on the topic after weighing the controversial PlayStation exclusivity for Spider-Man in Marvel's Avengers, with Khan suggesting that Sony has far bigger exclusivity deals waiting in the wings. So Khan suggests that PS5 is getting huge or lengthy acquisitions in the first 2 years for some very big multi-platform titles. We haven't had confirmation of this from PlayStation, but he does claim to have inside knowledge. This comes on the back of the Marvel Avengers game news that Spider-Man is coming to the game, but only for PlayStation 5 users. This, as you can imagine, did spark some outrage on the internet and became the source of discussion as to whether these practices or these kind of practices, these kind of time deals, is good for gaming overall. Jonathan Dornbush over at IGN wrote a piece basically saying that this deal, this Marvel Avengers deal, is great for Sony, but bad for gaming. Some quotes from the article. He says, quote, "It's quite simply a brilliant marketing move on a brand recognition level." He says this only further solidifies PlayStation's connection with Spider-Man, even if it's not the same Spider-Man that's in their 2018 exclusive game. The PlayStation 4 exclusive is one of the biggest games of the PlayStation 4 generation and the best-selling superhero of all time. Ultimately, he says that's a good business move for PlayStation. However, he does say he does not feel that this is good for gaming. He says, quote, "Platform exclusives like this always feel mean, even if they make sense from a business perspective. PlayStation wants to bring players into its systems with likely one of the most requested characters for Avengers lineup, and there's already an association of the character with Sony. But for players on other platforms, it feels like a slap in the face, and it only fuels the console divide further at a time when playing together, no matter where we play, is becoming more important than ever." He brings up some good points there, and while I do agree that it is important that we play together, it's more important than ever. I think gaming represents this social fabric that we drastically need and represents this social fabric where no matter who you are or what you think or where you come from, we can both hop on and play games together. I ultimately don't think this move by Sony is bad for gaming. And I know that's not a popular opinion right now. Is it unfair? I'm not sure unfair is actually the right word. PlayStation has no obligation to you as a generic gamer. Their obligation ultimately is to their own player base, to those who will be on or who want to buy a PlayStation console, for those who have chosen to buy a PlayStation console. Their obligation to those players is to make it the best experience for those players. If that means getting additional content for them, then that's a part of that. And I think PlayStation is doing a really good job of that. I think PlayStation crushed the Xbox this last generation because PlayStation was willing to go out and make those deals. And I don't think that there's a linear equation between saying that PlayStation getting these deals on their platform for third-party games, multi-platform games that will be on other platforms, is bad for gaming. I think it's just better if you're a PlayStation gamer, and I think that's the whole point of these deals. I think developers are willing to make these deals. I think PlayStation's willing to make these deals as well, and I think ultimately it's going to pay off on the PlayStation by these games ultimately selling more copies on the PlayStation and for the PlayStation. I think it's a smart move, and I don't think it's ultimately bad for gaming. Now, this is not to say that players are not justified in feeling frustrated and jobbed and frustrated at these types of deals. I completely get that. I get why you would feel that way, but I don't think it's bad for gaming. I don't think it's bad for gamers. I think this is the nature of trying to set themselves apart from each other with different benefits and different features. For instance, let's take a game like Destiny, right? Destiny is on all consoles. However, Destiny is on Game Pass on Xbox, and you're going to get access to the DLC there, where on other consoles, you are going to have to pay for that. Is that unfair to people who are on those other consoles? Sure, but what is it? It's an added benefit for people who are a part of the Xbox ecosystem and are on the Game Pass itself. And I don't think that that's bad for gaming. I think that's competition, and that's the nature of competition. Now, the question is, should Xbox do some of these? And I think they absolutely should. Ryan McCaffrey from IGN actually had a tweet in which he posed the question as to why Xbox doesn't do these deals. And I agree. If game developers are willing to do these deals, I think it only helps you, it only helps your brand, and it helps get players and give people another reason to come and join your ecosystem and to buy your console. I think Sony has done a really good job of that, and I think Xbox should do it. And I think in doing it, Xbox is probably going to leave the bad taste in some players' mouths who are not on the Xbox console, but that's the whole point. The only reason that there's a bad taste in your mouth if you want to play Spider-Man and you don't have a PlayStation is because you don't have a PlayStation. What does that do? That makes you want to get a PlayStation. Now, the argument might be, well, no, it doesn't. It makes me think that PlayStation is just money grabbing and keeping me from enjoying content, and I don't like that or think that's good for gaming. And I get that. I get why that feeling exists. But again, I think it's just a useful tool that sets consoles apart from each other. It's a way that it's the way that Sony crushed the Xbox this generation, and I think the Xbox needs to do something similar. And I don't think it's bad for gaming. Will it reach a stage eventually? Perhaps, if everybody was doing it to every single game, to every single multi-platform game that exists. If every developer was making these deals, yes. At that point, then I could see like, okay, guys, this is getting ridiculous. But at this point in time, I don't think that it is. And if a developer is willing to make that deal, then that's on the developer. Regardless, I do think it's an interesting question, and I do think clearly we're going to see more of this. And what's going to be interesting to see, does Xbox reciprocate this generation with similar deals? What do you think? Do you think this is good for gaming? Do you think it's bad for gaming? Where did I go wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I think it's a great discussion. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you guys next time.